Deep in the parched, high desert landscape of Utah's Uinta Basin lies a property that defies the known laws of physics. For decades, Skinwalker Ranch has served as a terrifying nexus for unidentified aerial phenomena, bulletproof creatures, and inexplicable domestic horrors. This property, formerly known as the Sherman Ranch, has transformed from a humble cattle operation into the most scientifically scrutinized site of paranormal activity in human history. To understand Skinwalker Ranch is to confront the possibility that our reality is far thinner than we believe, a place where ancient curses, billionaire-funded laboratories, and secret Pentagon programs collide. The following investigation details the chronological descent of the property into the heart of the unknown, beginning with the arrival of a family whose American dream was systematically dismantled by a sentient, invisible enemy. Before we continue, I'd like to request you to subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. The history of the ranch is inseparable from the geography of the Uinta Basin, a region often referred to by locals as UFO Alley. Long before the property was a headline-grabbing mystery, the indigenous Ute and Navajo tribes viewed this specific stretch of land with profound trepidation. The Ute people have avoided the area for centuries, naming it the Path of the Skinwalker. Their oral traditions speak of an ancient curse born from a conflict with the Navajo, who allegedly unleashed skinwalkers, malevolent, shape-shifting witches capable of transforming into predators, upon the Ute tribe. In Navajo lore, a skinwalker is a practitioner of the dark arts who achieves supernatural power by means of it. It goes on all fours, and these entities are believed to still haunt the basin, existing in a state between the physical and spirit worlds. The modern chapter of this nightmare began in 1994, when Terry and Gwen Sherman purchased the property, hoping to raise high-end hybrid cattle. However, the ranch seemed to signal its hostility before they even finished moving in. They found heavy-duty deadbolts on the interior and exterior of doors and windows, and industrial-strength locks on the kitchen cabinets. The previous owners, the Myers family, had lived there for 60 years, yet they were notoriously private about why they had essentially turned a farmhouse into a fortress. The most infamous incident occurred on the Shermans' first day. As they were unloading their belongings, a massive wolf, as tall as a man's chest and weighing hundreds of pounds, emerged from the brush. It appeared strangely docile, smelling of rain and wet dog, and Terry's father, Ed Gorman, was even able to pet the animal. This initial contact was a deceptive calm. The beast suddenly lunged at a calf inside a pen, grabbing it by the head through the bars. Terry and his father began beating the wolf with shovels, but the animal didn't flinch. Terry then shot the wolf at point-blank range. The bullet appeared to be absorbed by the creature's hide. He shot it again and again, eventually using a high-powered rifle. The wolf didn't bleed or yelp. It simply let go of the calf, looked at the family with piercing blue eyes, and trotted away into the tree line. Terry tracked the animal through the mud, only to find that its footprints abruptly vanished, as if it had simply dissolved into the air. This bulletproof predator was merely the beginning of a 2-year assault on the Shermans' reality. As the Shermans attempted to maintain their cattle ranch, the property's phenomena escalated from biological anomalies to domestic terror. The family began losing cattle with alarming frequency and precision. Of their 80 head of cattle, 14 were found dead or missing under circumstances that defied any natural explanation. The cattle mutilations were surgical and bloodless, often involving the removal of specific organs with a precision that left the surrounding tissue untouched. In several instances, cows were found with their ears, eyes, or genitals removed by what appeared to be laser-like cuts, yet no blood was present on the carcass or the ground, and no footprints were found nearby. The horror quickly moved inside the home. The Shermans reported a barrage of poltergeist activity that targeted their sense of safety and sanity. Furniture would move across rooms on its own. Dishes would be thrown and smashed against walls by unseen hands, and the family would wake up to find their bedsheets pulled off or objects like keys and tools missing, only to find them later in the freezer or high atop cupboards. Disembodied voices, often sounding like a computer-generated or metallic language, were heard whispering in the air, both inside the house and out in the fields. The ultimate breaking point for the Shermans involved the presence of sentient blue orbs. These spheres of light, roughly the size of a baseball or a basketball, hummed with a low-frequency vibration and exhibited intelligent behavior. One evening, Terry observed a blue orb hovering near his cattle and sent his 3 best guard dogs to chase it away. The dogs followed the orb into a thicket of trees. Terry heard 3 distinct yelps, followed by an eerie silence. The next morning, he discovered 3 circular patches of scorched earth. In the center of each patch was a small pile of greasy black ash and a few pieces of bone, all that remained of his dogs. Fearing for the lives of his children and economically devastated by the loss of his livestock, Terry sold the ranch in 1996 to billionaire Robert Bigelow. Robert Bigelow, an aerospace tycoon with a deep-seated interest in the paranormal, purchased the ranch not for profit, but to turn it into a high-tech scientific laboratory under the National Institute for Discovery Science, NIDS. He brought in a team of elite researchers, including biochemist Colm Kelleher and retired Army Colonel John Alexander, to document the phenomena using a standard scientific approach. This era marked the first time the ranch's mysteries were subjected to rigorous observation, yet the property seemed to react to the presence of sensors and cameras with a trickster intelligence. Researchers reported seeing creatures that defied biological classification, including a raptor-like humanoid and a Bigfoot-like being that appeared to be watching the team from across the fields. The most profound accounts from the NIDS era involve interdimensional portals. Scientists claim to see a tear in the sky or a shimmering orange structure hanging in the air. In one famous account, a researcher using night vision goggles observed a large humanoid entity crawl out of a tunnel of light and vanish into the Utah darkness. The mystery transitioned from a private interest to a matter of national security in 2007. James Lakatsky, an intelligence officer from the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, visited the ranch and had a profound experience in the kitchen of the ranch house. He claimed to see a complex, semi-opaque, yellowish tubular device, a vision that led to the creation of the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Applications Program, AAWSAP. Funded with $22 million, AAWSAP was tasked with investigating UFOs, but it quickly became an umbrella for studying the link between aerial phenomena and the paranormal. This program eventually delivered over 100 technical reports to the Pentagon, many of which focused on the nuts and bolts of the phenomena encountered at Skinwalker Ranch. One of the most terrifying discoveries made during the DIA-funded investigations was the hitchhiker effect. This phenomenon suggests that the ranch's activity is not localized to the Utah property, but can attach itself to visitors and follow them home. Military personnel, researchers, and even their families reported that after visiting the ranch, they experienced paranormal disturbances in their own suburban homes, often thousands of miles away. This was not a metaphorical haunting. Individuals returned to cities like Washington, D.C., only to find dark shadow beings standing at the foot of their children's beds at night. These entities, described as 3-dimensional, dark figures with glowing red or yellow eyes, were often accompanied by physical disturbances, such as plates flying across rooms, doors slamming, and brand new car batteries dying simultaneously. Dr. James Lakatsky and Colm Kelleher documented multiple cases where these hitchhikers caused serious health issues, including blood disorders, autoimmune diseases, and injuries that medical professionals stated defied conventional explanation. A 3-year study by Dr. Jim Segala utilized advanced monitoring devices and discovered a shocking correlation. Simultaneous spikes in electromagnetic and gamma radiation, sometimes 30 times above normal background levels, occurred exactly when these shadow figures appeared in the experiencers' homes. This suggests a form of quantum entanglement or contagion between the ranch and the human consciousness, leading some researchers to speculate that the ranch acts as a sentient system that monitors and infects its observers. In 2016, the ranch was sold to real estate investor Brandon Fugel, who initiated a new era of investigation involving a team of scientists led by Dr. Travis Taylor and Eric Bard. Utilizing drones, ground-penetrating radar, and rockets, the modern team has focused on a geological feature known as the Mesa, and a recurring 1.6 GHz radio signal that appears whenever UAP are present. This specific frequency is reserved for military and satellite communications, yet at Skinwalker Ranch, it behaves with a spicy unpredictability, moving across the spectrum. The team's attempts to drill into the Mesa have yielded the most mind-bending evidence of an artificial presence underground. Drilling operations have repeatedly hit an impenetrable, dome-shaped object approximately 20 feet below the surface. GPR scans suggest a massive metallic structure, at least 6 feet thick, buried inside the rock. Samples extracted from these boreholes revealed unusual materials, including blue dirt, ceramic-like alloys, and a green jelly containing charcoal and burnt plant matter. Some researchers hypothesize that this object is a crashed craft or an ancient power device that creates a localized distortion in space-time. The implications of these modern findings point toward the ranch being a permanent wormhole or interdimensional portal location. Dr. Travis Taylor has proposed that the phenomena, the bulletproof wolves, the shadow beings, and the orbs, are not separate events but manifestations of an exotic technology or intelligence interacting with our dimension. Whether it is an ancient power grid, a military testing ground, or a gateway to another world, Skinwalker Ranch continues to mock the boundaries of human knowledge. The ranch remains a sentinel of the unknown, reminding us that there are still places on Earth where the shadows have a life of their own, and where the act of looking into the abyss ensures that the abyss will follow you home.